Hello and welcome back to Hammond's Upholstery. I'm sorry there's no walk around this week, as this is a bit of a last minute edit for you, as I've been away out enjoying myself. Anyway, so we're cracking on with these bar stools. As you can see, they're currently in a grey velvet. We're changing them into a leather for the customer, white leather for them. So I hope you enjoy this video. As always, please like and subscribe and continue watching. Let's see how this pans out. Okay, so that's the 4 of these bar stools ripped up. So I've now got to unpick the leather for the templates. What's worrying me a little bit now is that now these are ripped up, I'm seeing the actual size of the pieces of leather. So I'm hoping that we can get them out of the one hide, but fingers crossed. Otherwise I need to phone the customer and let them know that we're going to be short and going to need to order another hide. Hopefully we don't have to. It's not a conversation I really want to have, but anyway, so I now need to get these unpicked, and once I've got the covers unpicked I'll lay them out on the leather so you can see exactly what I mean about how big these pieces really are. When they're on the stool they don't look that big, but when it's unpicked I think they're going to be quite big pieces of leather. So I'll get them unpicked even, and come back to you when I've done that and got it laid out on the leather for templates. Okay, so these 4 leather chairs, got the cover cut. I've done 3, this is the last one. I can't unfortunately do the seat pads. I did run out of leather like I suspected, but that's on order. Hopefully that'll be here soon, so you will get to see me do the seat pads and finish the chairs off. But in the meantime, let's get this last inside back on. They're not the easiest ones I've ever done, if I'm honest with you. Very tight, but they need to be to try and get the leather out as clean as possible. I'm just putting the needle through the existing holes here on the back, if I can find the hole there, which I'm struggling a bit. I'm marking it on the outside back just to make my life a little bit easier. Struggling there. Have to peel the foam up, inspect from the inside. So the back, this frame is entirely steel frame with a hardboard on them. Which the needle needs to go through, put the buttons through. So that's why I've just marked that on the back. See if I can find the others. I'm going to have to make some buttons as well. It seems I can't add up or count, whichever way you want to put it. I could have sworn there was 4 buttons in each one of these bags. There's not, there's 5. So I've got to make some buttons to do this. So I'm just, like I said, marking the button holes so it's easier for me to find and then we can get on with getting the back on. I've got 3 buttons, so you'll get the idea with the 3 buttons. What I've got to do, I will have to stop video just whilst I make the remaining 2 buttons. So putting silicone on this, try and make it as easy as possible for myself. Put them back on. It would appear that the fabric that was on it had a bit more stretch than the leather appears to have. It's making them quite tough to put on. So find the centre of the back, the centre of the chair, making sure the welt goes over the top edge and down the back. Doing that on all of them, so we get some, so they all match. So just lay that around the top there. Need to stretch it on. Make my life easy. Further down the line. So right, that's as far as I go. So now I've got to try and put the buttons in. The buttons that I've got made in anyway. So the buttons have got a nice long tape on them because of the fact that I can't pull the buttons off until the leather is pulled off and stapled. It's just how they've been manufactured. Buttons need to go in now because the strings go on the outside back of the chair itself. If I don't do it now, I'm not going to be able to get them in later. So that's the 3 out of the 5 buttons. I'm going to have to make the other 2 buttons that I'm missing and come back to you and put the last of those buttons in, and then we can carry on with this. Right, let's get on with this. Now we've got all the buttons in. I'll try and orientate, anyway, you know, face it to the camera. I'm an upholsterer. So the difficulty with this is because it's all sewn in one piece, trying to get this stretched tight as I go to get it to fit properly is the thing. And I can't pull the buttons off until the seat or the seat base timber for the seat goes in. These are certainly not the easiest chairs I've ever had the pleasure to upholster. Now, I could soften the leather up with some steam or hot water, and then it would stretch on like it was butter, but it can have a detrimental effect to the finish on these hides, leave watermarks on them. So if I can, I will get it on, and this one's gone on. A lot of pull in there. That's over the stitch line up. So I'm just going to pull the twines for the buttons. 5 buttons, not 4 one, like I could have sworn there was, but there's not. Now I've got to make some cuts because this has got to have the board going here yet, and I can't staple the leather off because there's nothing to staple the leather off onto until the board's in. But to get the board in, I've got to cut the leather around the frame of the chair. These are not the simplest dining chairs I've ever had the pleasure of doing because of this. In fact, I hasten to say, I don't think I charged the customer enough for these. But I'm certainly not going to go back to them now and say, oh, by the way, I think I underestimated them. Right, so this is the board. Well, 1 or 2 boards. This is the board that goes in the frame to attach the back to, then there's a board on the seat. So that slots in here. Get that, pops in behind that rail, and then make sure it's not trapping any of the leather, because I need to be able to pull that leather freely. Okay, 4 screws to hold that in. Now what they've used, I get why they've done it, I'll try and show you on camera, is they've used a very coarse threaded screw, hopefully you can see that, and then chopped it down to size to fit. The reason why it's a coarse thread is so it holds the thin board well. So I completely get why they've done that. And it works. Because a standard screw that would be small enough for this, 10mm screw would theoretically have a very fine thread on it. Well, it's not going to hold this timber, it will pull out of the timber. And as you could hear there, that's gone in nice and tight. There's the last one. Get that in there. Right. Now I've got to pull the front edge of the seat over. I'll try and do it on this end so you can see. My apologies, the compressor's just kicked off. Right, so I've got to pull the lever from round the back and over without putting too much strain onto the stitching, because I do not want to break the stitching at this point when I've nearly done the job. Right, so that's on. Now I've got to get the tension in the lever. Let's come around here. Again, I still can't pull the buttons off just yet. The inside back needs stapling off first. Put it in as tight as I can to get the creases out. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to eliminate all of them. Have to be cautious not to pull the lever that hard that you tear it. It has happened before. I don't want it to happen on this. I'm short of lever as it is, and time. So I'm trying to pull the lever but not pull it necessarily where there's cuts in it. Okay, there you go. Get in there. Got to alter that cut. Yeah, that bit's wanting to tear there. Okay, so that's about as much tension I'm going to get in there. I will get it a bit cleaner with the outside back. seat. Trimming off the excess. Right, there you go. Let's fold this back so you can see what's going on. So I've stapled the inside back to that board. Okay, hopefully you can see that. I need to trim that off. Next is to pull the buttons tight. Then I can pull the outside back nice and tight, and then the seat lip. So I'm going to push the button in to get some tension in it. Find the correct strings. Staple the strings to the board and then fold them back on themselves, and another couple of staples in there so they don't slip. So you wouldn't want to be doing lots of these in a day. That would be exhausting. I'm sure with the fabric would have gone on easier than this leather anyway, but regardless of that, it'll still be hard work. It can be quite physical at times, this job. Right. Okay. Right. Next, the outside backs, get some tension in this. Again, just using the palm of my hand to push everything over. Good old pull. Stapling it well in on that board. Same with the outside arms. I knew that was going to happen. You always run out of staples, right? It's the most inopportune moment. So pulling the lever over tight, want to pull it tight that we don't have any creases going over onto the outside back itself. Right, let's have a look at the seat lips, should I say. Okay, that's going to work okay. I had a interesting comment the other day from somebody looking at reupholstering or recovering a sofa and a chair themselves. Now, my understanding is they've never done any upholstery before, and they asked the question, do I think it's beyond the realms of them attempting to do the upholstery themselves? Well, as I said in the comment, I don't want to discourage anybody from learning any new skills or even attempting something, but I know that at times I can make it look relatively easy and straightforward, but that's 35 years of experience, and I'm sure I've not made this look relatively easy or straightforward, because they're not. So my advice to them was, think about whether you'd be better off taking the money that you would have spent to do it yourself and saving up and having a professional do it, rather than potentially wasting your money and also turning a nice piece of furniture into scrap. So my thoughts are, yes, have a go, but not necessarily on your three-piece suites at home. Try something smaller. Start off with a small stool is where I started, footstools, moving on up to chairs, etc. You need to learn the skills to be able to sew, use a sewing machine, cut, potentially making patterns before you even start something else. Right, so that's on. It's got to have the seat pad upholstered to then go in, but like I say, unfortunately I don't have the lever here to do that at the moment. That should be in any day now. Some of these have come out cleaner than others. This isn't the cleanest one that's come out, but the lever will settle, and if I think that I need to address it, I can. I've got a steamer which will relax the hide and get some of this out, but they are what they are. The fabric that was on it had a four-way stretch in it. This lever certainly hasn't got a four-way stretch. Well, it has if you pull it tight enough, but anyway, I need to make myself a cup of tea, and hopefully the lever's in the next day. Well, hopefully today, or Thursday or Friday, because I need to get these done and back to the customer. In the meantime, I've got some drop-in seats that I need to do today before I finish. You've seen me do plenty of drop-in seats, and they're on the other blog, so I'll come back to you when I'm finishing these off. Hopefully not too long now. Right, let's try and get these white leather bar stools done. But in the meantime, it's first thing in the morning. Weather's quite nice here, a bit dull, but it's nice. So let's have a walk through and see what else we've got going on at the moment. Okay, brown vinyl cushion done for a customer for a chair, and some buttons to go with it actually. The lady hasn't come and collected her cushion for her window seat here. I have called her a couple of times, but she now seems to have disappeared. I don't know what to say about that. Got a little stool there in the green fabrics on top of it. The dining chairs. These dining chairs are going to be my first job when I'm back from my holiday. So this will be the last vlog video before then. Cushions and the large stool waiting to be collected before I finish. This is the part of the corner sofa that is going to be made into a large footstool. And the antiques child's chair, I was hoping to get that done before I go away, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But this has got to be done. It's stripped, and I've now got the paint for it, so I need to get a coat of paint on that today. But first off, it's these chairs. I've now got the leather in. I've cut that's there, so I need to make the seats up, get these seat pads done and into the job, so you'll join me with that. Okay, so I need to get on the sewing machine and sew them up. Okay, so that's the seat sewn up. Here's the seat pad for A. We're going to put a layer of Lux Bond just on the top. So I need to glue that on. And then we're going to trim it off. We don't want it coming over the edges, because then it could restrict the seat, the way it fits into the frame. So we're just going to bond it to the top, trim it off flush with the edges, and we'll be good to go. This is the 8-ounce Lux Bond. If you've watched my videos before, you see it's pretty much the only Lux Bond that I use. The thinner stuff, I don't really see the point, especially on leather. You're not really getting any benefit from the 4s and the 6s. I don't think 6s maybe, but certainly not the 4-ounce. Again, that relates to the density, the weight of it. So anyway, 8-ounce using here. Spray with the silicone, and let's get the seat on. I'm going to put the salvage over the edges, the same as I do with the stool tops, and the same as I do with the stool tops. Just work my way around, making sure I've got that salvage over the edges. The joins in the leather, I need to open them up so they lay nice and flat, or as flat as they can do. There we go. So that fits nicely. We're reusing the existing foam on these. It's quite a soft foam, so I've got to be careful when I pull the lever over the edge that I don't compress the foam too much. So I've just set my guide here, and I'm going to use that for the top of the stitching. So that's about 55 millimeters, about 2¼ in old money for our American viewers. Just working my way around, pulling it over. Okay, so nearly back round to the front. Centre at the front, pull it over again, measure that. Get a bit of tension into that. So we have the corners where it's pulled here. I need to cut out this part of the lever here, otherwise it creates too much of a lump, because I'm going to have to put pleats in there, and I want to keep the lever, the lump certainly in the corners, to a minimum, because they restrict the seat when I screw it into the base being pulled in tight enough, or can restrict them from being pulled in tight enough, and I end up with a gap, and we don't want that. So cut that lever out, then put our pleat in, which is only on the underside edge. We don't want it going round onto the front. And then if we've done everything right, it's just a case of infilling between the staples, and we're good to go. I'm not going to use the original fixings, the original screws, or the original screw holes on these seats, because I want a new fresh fixing that's the seat's not going to come away. Right, we've got join in the lever here, just making sure that the welt is opened up and laying flat. Again, avoiding lumps. Same with this joint. There's got to be joins in this lever, because it's not an infinite length. It has happened before where I've had customers think that leather you buy on a roll like you would vinyl, They don't seem to understand that it comes cow-shaped. Well, they do now. Once I explained it to them. Anyway, so there's joins in these borders, but they're not seen, so it's not an issue. So get this one in to its respective frame. Slide that in, tap, that's nice. We've got no gaps along the back edge or anything like that, that fits well. We need to make sure the front edge is level, and then we can put our screws in. Like I say, I'm using new screws, and I'm not going back in the original fixing holes. I'm going to put a screw in, check that I can't, I'm going to have to turn this upside down, check that I can't feel the screw through the board up on the seat, so when the customer's sitting on it, we don't want them getting a nasty surprise. So let's just check that, put some weight on there. No, that's fine. So I'm using a 30mm screw. Now the board is approximately 15mm each board, so there's two boards I'm screwing through there, and there'll be a bit of a void between the two boards because of the leather. It's better I check than the customer find out. Right, okay, so that's gone in there nicely. So I need to get them done. A simple case of putting a black bottom on here, just stapled round. I use my black staples. Make sure I pop the holes through for the fixings and then screw them back to the frame. So I'm going to put the kettle on, finish them off, and I'll come back to you and show you the finished set of chairs, which shouldn't take me too long now. They've gone together well. Okay, so kettle on, and I'll be back soon with the finished item. So there you have it, for high bar stools done in the leather. It's spinning around so you can get a better look. Okay, there you have it, all done, ready to go back to the customer. I just need to get them wrapped. We don't want them getting dirty. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's not meant to be instructional, it's entertainment, but if you pick up any tips or hints along the way, that's great. I'm now going to be closed until middle of August, going away on my jolly holidays, me and my son. So as for now, we will be back. Please like and share. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you back mid to end August. Thanks again. Bye bye.